Well, students of 12th class, I am Pardeep Kaul, lecturer in chemistry. And dear students, today we are here with a new topic. We are starting a new unit today, and the name of the unit is General Principles and Processes of Isolation of Elements. And this unit has a weightage of 3 marks. It's a short unit. In this unit, we shall discuss many things like metallurgy and this and that, the separation of these elements. So before going to the topic, before going to today's topic, we will discuss something about periodic table. Now, your periodic table, as you know, it contains more than 115 elements, and some of those elements are metals and some are non-metals and even some are metalloids. But today I will just divide those elements into two classes, because most of the elements that are present in the periodic table, they are either metals or non-metals. Now, as far as metals are concerned, the maximum number of elements in the periodic table are metals, and a very few are non-metals. Now, these elements which we are talking about, where are these elements present? Where we find these elements? These elements are present in 3 regions. What are those 3 regions? Let me come to those regions. One region is lithosphere. Then we have hydrosphere. And the third region, the atmosphere. So, our elements, whether metals or non-metals, elements may be broadly classified as metals and non-metals. Now, these elements, they may be present in Earth's crust. That is called lithosphere. So lithosphere is basically a treasure, a store of these elements. Then we have another region where some of these elements may be present, that is hydrosphere. Hydrosphere means water bodies. Water bodies like sea, rivers, lakes, ponds, etc. These are water bodies. Your elements may be present in the hydrosphere. Then we have one more sphere, that is air, atmosphere. Some elements may be present in the atmosphere like carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen. These are very common elements that are present in the atmosphere. As far as lithosphere is concerned, the common elements that may be present in lithosphere are aluminum, iron, bismuth, gold, silver, and so many elements, because your Earth's crust is the treasure of these elements. Then coming to hydrosphere, hydrosphere contains elements like potassium, sodium, chlorine. These are common elements that are present in hydrosphere. So, as far as the presence of these elements is concerned, there are 3 main regions of their presence, that is lithosphere, then our hydrosphere, and then atmosphere. Now, coming to metals and non-metals. As I just told you that most of the elements have metallic character. That is, they are metals, they have shine, they are good conductors of electricity. they are malleable, they are ductile. These are some common characteristics of metals. So most of the elements are metals and their percentage is very high, 80%. About 80% of the elements are metals. Metals are those elements which have luster. Luster means shine. They are malleable. Malleable means which can be beaten into sheets. They are ductile, which can be drawn into wires. They are good conductors of heat and electricity. Heat and electricity. These are some common characteristics of, so they are good thermal conductors. They are good electrical conductors. On the other hand, non-metals, though they are not as abundant as metals, these are also present somewhere, like carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen. These are some elements which constitute non-metals. They may be present in Earth's atmosphere, Earth's crust, like carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen. Then sodium may also be present. Sodium is metal that may be present here in this category. Now, so what we find that 80% of the elements are metals and rest are non-metals, or they may be these metallites. Now, these elements which we are talking about this time, they are present, I just told you, they may be present in lithosphere, atmosphere or hydrosphere. Now, the question is whether they are present independently or they are present in combined state. So we can have these elements in two states. One, independent state, that is also known as native state. Then another is combined state. Now, the elements which are present in native state means independently, not in combined form. They are found as such. Such state is known as native state. The question is, which elements are found in this state? These are less reactive metals, very less reactive metals, very less reactive metals, or non-reactive metals, elements rather. Less reactive elements or non-reactive elements, because they are less reactive, they do not combine with other elements, or they are totally non-reactive, so they do not exist in combined state. These elements, less reactive and non-reactive elements, are found as such, that is independently, and then we say that they are found in native state. Now the question is, which elements fall under this category? For example, gold. Gold is almost very say non-reactive element, or if it is reactive, a very less reactive element. Then we have silver, we have mercury in this category, we have platinum in this category, and we have noble gases like helium, neon, argon, krypton. These are non-reactive, these are inert. Krypton, xenon, radon, these are those elements which are found in native state. Why they are found in native state? Due to a very simple reason, that they are very less reactive. They do not combine with other elements, or they are non-reactive. But there are a number of other elements which may be found in combined state. They are found with other elements, combined with other elements. Those we may say that they are found in combined state. Now the question is, which elements are found in combined state? Reactive elements, the elements which are reactive, that is, they are found in combined state. They react with other elements, that is, we don't find them in native state. We find them in reactive state, rather combined state, and those elements are nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, arsenic, iron, aluminium, halogens. These are some of the elements which are found in combined state. So what we have come to know now? We have come to know that the elements, we have a wide variety of elements. We have broadly classified them into metals and non-metals, and as far as their presence is concerned, they are either found in native state or in combined state, depending upon their reactivity, whether they are less reactive, non-reactive, or reactive. Now, coming to the abundance of these elements in lithosphere, hydrosphere, or atmosphere. Abundance means their percentage, how much they are present and where they are present. Abundance. Out of 16 very abundant elements, there are 16 very abundant elements. Out of those 16 elements, the most abundant elements out of these 16 are oxygen, silicon, aluminium, and then we have iron, we have copper, we have other elements. So out of 16, these three are most abundant elements present in any sphere, whether in atmosphere, in hydrosphere, or in lithosphere. So which element is most abundant? That is oxygen. How much percentage of it is present? Percentage by weight. Oxygen is present up to 49.5% by weight. Then at second number we have silicon, 27.7% abundance. This is abundance by weight. Then we have aluminium, 8.3%. Then we have iron, 4.7%. And then we have some other elements also. So what we find, we have some objective type questions here in this, that oxygen is the most abundant element throughout the periodic table. In the whole periodic table, the most abundant element is oxygen. The second abundant element is silicon, and aluminium occupies the third position in abundance. As far as metals are concerned, which metal is most abundant? Most abundant metal is aluminium. I am talking of metals. Most abundant element is aluminium. Most abundant. This is most abundant metal. And as far as non-metal is concerned, that is clearly the oxygen. Now, since I just told you that our elements, they are found in native state or combined state. I just told you they may be present in one of these states. As far as elements which are present in native state, they can be isolated from there quite easily. Their isolation is very simple because they are in native state, not in combined state. So we can simply isolate them from there. But as far as these elements which are found in combined state, combined with other elements, their isolation requires a series of steps, a series of methods. And so when we extract a metal, or in other words, an element present in combined state with other elements, is called a mineral. So what is a mineral? We have come to the definition of a mineral now. Mineral means combined state in which an element or metal naturally occurs in nature. That combined state of that element is known as mineral. Now, an element or a metal can have many minerals. For example, aluminum has bauxite as one of its minerals. It has some, then we have sulfide, these minerals which contain sulfur as impurities, oxygen as impurities, silicon as impurities, carbon as impurities. So, when an element is found in combined state that and occurs in the nature, that combined state of that element or that metal is known as mineral. Since I told you that metal can have many minerals, a metal can have many. Say, suppose if we have a metal A, suppose it has 5 minerals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But when we start metallurgy, now another term has come, that is metallurgy. What is metallurgy? Metallurgy is separation. It is a process. It is isolation of the metal from its combined state. When we isolate it from the combined state, that whole process is known as metallurgy. I will define it later, metallurgy. But before coming to metallurgy, let me come, I just told you that a metal can have different minerals. But one of these minerals or two of these minerals from which we can extract the metal, economically means we have a financial gain, economically and conveniently. So, this was mineral, and one of these minerals or two of these minerals, or sometimes it may be 3 of these minerals, can be ore. So what is ore now? Ore is also a mineral. It is one of the minerals. Ore is a mineral from which a metal is extracted, from which we can extract the metal economically, where we have financial gain and conveniently. Such a mineral is known as ore. So basically ore is a mineral. Every ore is basically a mineral. But every mineral cannot be an ore. So for today it is sufficient. We will come to isolation and other principles later on. Thank you very much.